When last we spoke on the podcast, we were reviewing The Odyssey, which starred a whole roster of huge Hollywood actors, but amongst them Robert Pattinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that I wasn't the biggest fan of his performance. Since that episode, went and watched it again, and I take it back. I actually found him really enjoyable. So I don't know what mood I was in when I first watched it, but I thought he was great. And I saw this tweet today by English Guy. Fair enough. Where he said, Robert Pattinson, we're all English guys, aren't we? Deep down. Even the girls.
Even the gals.
After a certain number of drinks, we're all English guys. English lads. Robert Pattinson, low-key, genuinely and suspiciously keeps taking roles where he gets to bully Timothée Chalamet and Tom Holland. And they've listed 4 films here. The King, The Devil All the Time, The Odyssey, and Dune Part 3. And I thought, yeah, fair play. You smashed that. Well done. Good tweet.
Yeah, you're right. There's something about Tom Holland and Timothée Chalamet where they're kind of they sort of are often compared against each other, aren't they? But they're like, I'm trying to think, what else has Tom Holland done? Yeah, he was in The Odyssey, wasn't he? And Chalamet didn't get a big role in a Nolan film, but Robert Pattinson is on top in every film. So he's always playing a little weirdo, though. Did you see the clip of him? I think he's on the press tour for, I'm not too sure. And they're playing is it Guess Who? The game where you have to have a photo of someone and you have to be like, does this person have a moustache or do I have, and there's a picture of himself and he goes,
yeah,
am I ugly?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. The way he says it, am I ugly?
He seems like he'd be excellent to go for a beer with. He seems proper weird.
Yeah, totally. What do you reckon Robert Pattinson drinks?
A vodka, lime, and soda. No, he must be a Guinness guy. Come on.
I think he'd have one
Guinness outside a pub in London.
Yeah, that's
drinking a pint.
True. Tangent. But why are there always people in London? No matter what day of the week it is, whatever time, whatever street you're on, if there's a pub on the corner, it's rammed, and they're all there drinking Guinness, like they're at some sort of Guinness party.
It's all
and they all know each other.
Mm.
Is that what it is?
This is honestly one of the reasons why we were thinking about selling our house and moving to London.
Right.
Because there's just such this is going to get a bit deep for an intro, but do you not feel that you're missing out by being so distant from that and never having lived in London? Because we do. Yeah. We're just imagine, when we went to Jeff Goldblum, right, the other day, imagine just being able to finish work at 5 and be like, I'll just go see that today, and going to something like that at the Royal Albert, or going to a show, or just going to the pub in a really cool place. Yeah. So we're going to move to London.
Yeah. I'll join you. Why not? There is something about London. It's the glitz and the glam, isn't it?
It
Can't be beat.
It's show business.
Oh, yeah. Hello and welcome to Moving Up, episode 111, or as I like to call it, episode 111. But 111 is way better to say. So, yeah, it's me, Adam Barlow.
And me, Alfie Walker.
And we're talking about Spider-Man today. It's going to be a focused episode. We're going to lock in. Our spidey senses are going to focus in on one film, no cocking around, okay? We're going to get straight to it, probably. We might do a little bit of waffle about funny stuff that's happened in the last week. But beyond that, it'll be focused reviews, okay?
Focused reviews about a surprisingly focused film. But as Adam said, a bit of waffle first. Adam, since seeing The Odyssey on normal screen, you went and saw it in a very fancy IMAX, right? So how was that?
Well, no, I saw it in Odeon Leicester Square. So it wasn't an IMAX, but it was 70mm. And look, I'm a film bro. The good parts of one anyway. I've got a film podcast. I've got a Spider-Man hoodie. I've got Lego. I've got Funko Pops. What more do you want me to say, But I've only seen 2 films in 70mm, The Odyssey and One Battle After Another last year. I don't really care if it's in 70mm or not. Sorry. I went along. I could slightly hear the projector in the background, slightly, but the auditorium was packed, absolutely rammed. And if you've been to the Odeon in Leicester Square, the Luke Cinema, you'll know how big that room is. It's basically a theatre room, but with the chairs kind of doubled or tripled in size, so you can fit a few less people in. But you've got the full sort of stalls area, then you've got the royal box and another sort of balcony, then a whole other balcony at the back that stretches really quite far. There's like another 15, 20 rows.
It's a bit odd, really, isn't it?
It doesn't really work for a cinema.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I love that venue, but it is weird. Although it is probably better than the Royal Festival Hall.
That's quite flat, isn't it?
Yeah, you probably have a bit more. The screen I would like to think is bigger in the Odeon, but anyway. I like 70mm, don't get me wrong. I like the flicker of the screen, I like the sound. But to pay a premium for it, I just don't think it's worth it, because all it is a little flicker. And you can only notice it as well when there's light scenes. So in One Battle After Another, quite a lot of that is set in the desert or as the sun's setting, right? And I thought that it was kind of the same case for the Odyssey, but I didn't notice it half as much as I did in One Battle After Another. So I was very thrown by that.
All the film bros are going to be coming for you now, even though you are a film bro. I mean, Sam, who we had on last episode, he's going to be fuming. He's going to...
I don't care. I don't care. I'll take you all on, you little nerds.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see it in 70mm IMAX. I really would, to see that full screen. But you're right about the premium and all the different versions. And we keep saying we need to educate ourselves a little more. I did watch a really good video essay the other day on it, and it made me understand it a bit more, but I'm not exactly 100% sure on what each version is and how it differs. And because I was sure that 70mm meant you were getting the is it like 58 perf, which is the holes on the film, which means it's bigger. So then you've seen it in 70mm, but it's not bigger. I don't know. Someone educate us. Someone tell me a good book to read on filmmaking. Because honestly, I've been looking for one and asked people, and I can never get an actual good answer. So yeah.
Or better yet, Josh Brooker. Come on, mate. Get right.
If there's any time for an essay from Josh.
This is it.
This is it. We're actually asking for one. We haven't heard from you in a long time, Josh, actually. Do you still listen? We'll find out if by next week we have an email.
No, he does. He does still listen.
Have you caught any other films, or is it just the Odyssey that you've seen again?
I saw Spider-Man twice, but we'll get onto that. The only other thing, I rewatched Iron Man, which I mentioned briefly before jumping on here. And it's a really sort of surreal experience rewatching that, because it is absolutely MCU fodder, but it's the first one, so it's kind of the blueprint, and it's really strange to watch a film that's actually quite it's quite dark in its first 30-40 minutes, and every time I rewatch it I forget that Obadiah Stane commissioned for him to be killed, which is a mad revelation every time I watch it.
Because it gets every time, and every time you rewatch it you get a shock again.
No way. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like Doctor Strange has a spell on it, but yeah, it's a good film. It does hold up. The action sequences are, every now and then it's a little bit janky, mainly when he's flying, but when he's on the ground shooting missiles and he's blowing up the tanks and he's locking into all the targets and the flares go up and all that stuff, it's all great. And I think they made the right decision to build the universe around Tony Stark, around Iron Man, and Robert Downey Jr. reigniting his career after a bit of a turbulent few years is, a beautiful thing. One of the best stories in modern day cinema.
Well, don't worry, you're going to get to see more of Tony Stark. Well, not, I guess not, is he? But Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom in the coming 2 years. So you can look forward to that one. I recently watched The Backrooms, finally. Yeah, that's worth mentioning. I won't review it, but obviously it was Obsession and Backrooms came out at the same time. Obsession has by far been the one that has taken off culturally as the most sort of impressive, but Backrooms was kind of what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as scary as Obsession. There is a really great chunk, I'm going to say maybe about 30 minutes in, once they find the Backrooms and they start exploring it. There's maybe a half an hour into the film, there's about a 10-15 minute chunk where they are just exploring it on a sort of not VHS type camera, digital camera. So it's blurry, it's got the grain, it's got the digital artifacts, and they are just exploring. And it's 3 of them, and they go through doors and they get pulled in certain ways because they're tethered with ropes. And there is a really creepy bit where there's like a cardboard cutout of someone in a pile of rubbish, and when this camera's moving, you're like, oh my god, that's a person, like, and it's done on purpose. It's really good for this. The beginning's a nice intro, and that middle section was proper, had me scared. It was really good, and it does unfortunately not hit the mark. I think you said to me a long time ago that you've heard the Backrooms goes a little more sort of light-hearted with its ending. It was a little bit silly, maybe. It didn't teeter in the proper horror element, and that's definitely true. It really didn't. The Backrooms villain for this one was not one from the YouTube sort of shorts and stuff. It was like created specifically for the film and related to the main character, and it just wasn't that scary. So that's a bit of a shame, but I can see this absolutely getting a second film and then diving into it more, which I'd be really up for because, I mean, I think it's Kane Parsons is the director. He's about 20 years old. It's insane that someone's 20 years old and can produce something like this. So would recommend it. Obsession's definitely the one to watch if you're only going to watch one of those big horrors. But yeah, I'm glad I caught it in the end, basically.
Spoilers, is that the pirate thing?
Yes, it is. That is the big villain because spoilers. I mean, I think everyone's probably seen it online anyway, but he is the Chiwetel Ejiofor is a furniture shop owner. And his mascot for his furniture shop is him as this pirate. And obviously the whole thing of the Backrooms is that it sort of copies what it sees in reality. So it's seen him dressed as this pirate. So it's produced its own version of this pirate, and it's 8 foot tall and really horrible face and the way it walks. And don't get me wrong, it's good, it's creepy, but it just teeters on that silliness a little bit too much. Like,
yeah, I've seen a handful of clips on Twitter, and it does just look like a Snapchat
man in a
filter.
costume. Yeah. The thing is, they got the Russian like basketball player who played the creature in Romulus.
Oh yeah,
to be in the costume, and it's a physical costume.
Okay.
It's quite cool. I was watching behind the scenes, but yeah, it just
that guy's gonna have work for life, isn't he?
Absolutely. Just playing really tall weirdos.
When's the Siren Head film coming? Because he
is
prime. He's front in line. Yeah. So, Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's the first Spider-Man film we've had in about 4.5 years, which is a crazy thing to think about because No Way Home feels like it was maybe 2 years ago. But that was the first term of uni for us two. I mean,
that's wild.
Where's the time gone?
Scary.
So at the end of that film, if you haven't seen it, I mean, go watch that, then come back, and then watch Brand New Day, then come back again. At the end of that film, obviously, all the people that know Peter Parker is being dragged into Earth 616, I think. And the only way to stop that reality convergence situation is Peter's like, okay, well, they're coming here because of that reason, so make everyone forget who I am. Like, so everyone forgets who Peter Parker is, but not who Spider-Man is. So in the MCU, Peter Parker's erased from everyone's memories, and only Spider-Man remains, basically. So you meet him at the start of this film. Obviously, MJ, Ned, they don't know who he is. He's completely on his own, but it's given him chance to make his own suits, make improvements, be a street-level hero, take out a few recognizable foes like Tombstone, Scorpion, Tarantula, villains I've never heard of. Really scraping the barrel there, aren't they, in that montage? But he then encounters a scenario that is a bit above his street level pay grade. So he then has to deal with a villain that he can't see. He can sense it with his spidey sense, but that's not always the most reliable thing because he's also going through, let's be honest, a second puberty, I guess, where his eyes glaze over every now and then, and he sort of gets more arachnid DNA than human DNA, and he's fluctuating with power levels. So quite Spider-Man 2 in that respect, where you're kind of like, oh, is he going to throw the towel in? And really Spider-Man 3 actually, where sometimes he overpowers.
Almost.
Yeah, so you've got this really cool position where Spider-Man is not quite in control, and neither is the villain, who will try and skip over spoilers for now.
Yeah, maybe at the end we'll do a little bit about it,
but hopefully that is a fairly good starting point. I think that's a baseline of what this film's about.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're safe to say that we both were not impressed with the trailers for this. I don't think you were as vehemently against it as I was, but I thought the trailers for this really had me not excited at all. I had no excitement for this film, quite frankly, and I was under the impression it was a multiverse film as well, which I was so pleasantly surprised to find out it wasn't when I started watching. I really got into it once. I was like, oh wow, this is street level Spider-Man. And that couldn't have been more of what I wanted. Yeah, do you want to go first, Adam? How did you find it? How was your initial impressions on watching it?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, the trailers didn't leap out at me. I thought the second trailer was much better, but that first trailer left a real sour taste in my mouth, and I wasn't fully convinced until I sat down in the cinema. I had a real blast with this film, actually. If anything, my one critique is that perhaps it was slightly overhyped, because going in, we had about a week beforehand where all the reviews came out, and they were across the board incredible, saying best Spider-Man film or best since Spider-Man 2, which is incredible praise. And I agree, but I think it's difficult to go into a film and have that in the back of your mind and still
temper your expectations. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that being said, I really, really had a good time with it. The cinematography, the themes at play here, the relationship between Peter Parker and MJ, which obviously they try and rekindle a little bit in here, is all fascinating. It feels really mature. It feels really complex. I was worried in the trailers that it looked like a real departure from the Homecoming trilogy, which I've always been a fan of. Even Far From Home, I love that film. But I know folks that are more into the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, or indeed the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, have always found Tom Holland's Spider-Man to be a little bit chained to the MCU, chained to Tony Stark, to Doctor Strange, and now kind of to Bruce Banner. I actually love that, though. I think that's always been a really interesting part of this this version of Spider-Man, right? Because I think he does feel independent, while at the same time being involved in such huge moments as Infinity War. I mean, when you think about that, it feels like a lifetime ago. That was only his third appearance as Spider-Man, and he's already facing Thanos. I mean, that's insane to look back on. And then in my timeline, it is weird to think that Far From Home came after Endgame.
Yeah.
You know, that's always it's strange how quickly that all happened. And how quickly he went from fighting the worst threat in the world to then being like, oh, it's a guy that's quite good at CGI. I mean, again, I love that film, but it's a really wonderful path that Tom Holland's been on with this character. And there were moments, even outside of the films. Do you remember in like 2019, around the time of Far From Home, where they were like, oh, actually, we don't know if we still have the rights. Like all that crazy stuff that's been going on in the real world as well has just added jeopardy to this whole franchise. And it's been delicious to watch. And I'm so glad we've got to this point where we've actually had 4 banging Spider-Man films that build upon one another. And I think this is, for me, the seminal Spider-Man.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better myself. I think, like you, I do enjoy the three Tom Holland films a lot. And I mean, I was speaking to Lenny after watching this on the train about which order is our favourite Tom Holland. How would we rank them? And I think they do just get better. I think it is genuinely 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the best one for Tom Holland, that is. And like you said, I think it is the best one since 2, the Tobey Maguire 2, I think. But it's so mature, and I think I cannot praise it enough for doing that. My worry going into this was they were just going to reverse the consequences from the previous film. I saw Ned and MJ were in it. I was dreading it. I was like, I don't want them in this film. I don't really like Ned as a character. And I was like, well, what are you going to do with MJ? I've had enough now. You've told me they've forgotten him as a person. And when they did that scene on the rooftop and you think that she remembers him, I was like, no, that is so stupid. And I was so happy to see it went a different way. And that sort of restored my faith in the film. And I was like, okay, the film's doing what we think it's doing. That's great. I think it feels so much more adult and adulty themes and mature compared to the previous 3, particularly the first 2. I think it hasn't got as much as that MCU humour in either, which is a great thing because I think that often falls quite flat. I think they've really tailored it with this, and I just kind of wish we weren't doing the multiverse anymore. I know we've got 2 films left, and it's the 2 big films, but I think the whole multiverse saga has quite honestly been a bit of a car crash. I think you've got some absolute gems in there. I'm actually a really big fan of Multiverse of Madness. I think that Raimi film is actually quite good. But then there's some in there that are a proper tripe, and Fantastic Four sort of revived my hope as well for it. I think that was great. And Thunderbolts was also quite a good film. But I think you're probably going to mention something about that in a bit. But this has just restored my faith a bit in Marvel, to be honest. But it's restored my faith in, I want to see this going forward. I don't want to see big CGI battles with a million characters fighting each other. And that's exactly what Doomsday and Secret War is. So I'm slightly gutted. This film is really impressed me. I think they've really sort of pinpointed what Spider-Man is, and they're really going for it. And Destin Daniel Cretton clearly knows what he's doing with this. And I think it's a shame now we're going to go back to the huge multiverse spectacle. But then hopefully, I guess after those 2 films, we're then going to return back to maybe individual films, maybe some X-Men films. I mean, that's what we've all been asking for a long time. Yeah, it's definitely the best Tom Holland Spider-Man for sure. It's just got such a message on it, and the parts where he's jumping off the building, like maybe committing suicide, is like quite a cool moment for a Spider-Man film, to see how depressed he is and how lonely he is, and how much he misses his friends. And I think the film comes really full circle with that, without undoing the consequences of the previous film, which I'm really glad it didn't. You mentioned this about Thunderbolts, so I'll let you say it. And I think it's a really good point that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, I love Thunderbolts, but one thing that was in the back of my mind during this film is how, again, skirting around spoilers, how thematically identical these 2 films are. And I don't think it detracts from either of them. I think they both pull it off in a different enough way. With the set of characters that they have, and with the actual emotional articulation at the end of it, it's a different feeling that's at the core of the characters, at the core of the villain's arc. But I think it's really funny how these films have come out just over a year apart from one another, and they're basically the same. Obviously, the hero side of it, less so, but, well, Florence Pugh's in both.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Maybe not. But I really like this film, and I think it doesn't detract, as I say, from Thunderbolts, but I think for people that are watching these down the line, maybe they're catching up on a few MCU films they might have missed. I mean, if you've missed this one, what are you doing? It seems like everyone and their dog's gone to see it. But I mean, yeah, I think it would feel more apparent on rewatch if you're doing some sort of, I don't know, phase 5. Well, what phase are we in? 6? 4? I don't know. Doing whatever phase from Captain America onwards, if that's anything, it would feel much more apparent. But yeah.
Something to mention, which we both couldn't praise enough, was the choreography in this. This is the most Spider-Man any Spider-Man has felt, I think. The utilization of like his webs and the tricks and flips he's doing and the sort of screenshots that we're getting where it's doing an actual comic book front cover. I mean, it's fan servicey, but it's so good. It's what people want, isn't it? Like that one of him with Tombstone at the top of the building is literally a cover from the comic. The one where he's kicking Scorpion is a cover of a comic. It's so cool. You can so tell that Daniel Cretton did Shang-Chi because there's a real sort of physicality to Spider-Man in this. I think they've made his suit less tight, which makes the suit look more real as well, which I was a real big fan of. It just feels more tangible. I feel like all the times he's swinging and flipping, it feels like he's actually there in the world compared to the others where he often does just feel like a CGI video game character jumping about. So I think they did a really good job with the choreography in this. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, to second that, even the moments when he's not swinging around, when he's speaking to the wolf, who, by the way, I didn't know that actress was going to be in it from The Bear. That was a nice surprise. Seeing him walking alongside her and just sharing things about crime scenes and say, oh, all the evidence is over there, or I caught him doing this. Like, it harkened back to the Homecoming kind of fights that he got into, but also it really screams with the choreography and fights as well of the PS5 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is such an obvious but such a brilliant direction to take it in because everyone loves those games. The best part of them is the fight sequences, the fact that you get to be Spider-Man, and watching it, it felt like, I'm like, oh, I've done that maneuver.
Yeah.
Like it made me feel more connected to him as a character. I think I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan because of this film, which I think is a huge compliment to everyone behind it. And yeah, I understood Spider-Man really to a higher degree than I think I had before. But as I say, to harken back to the sort of crime scene, low level, him on the ground, he felt real. I believed that he actually would operate in real life because that's always kind of the big thing about superheroes. You're like, well, this could never happen. But actually you're like, you know what? If there was someone swinging around, the police would probably work quite well with them, you know? And I actually believed that in this film, whereas I think in some of the other ones, I remember like, I don't think you trust this guy. But in here, it feels tangible.
Yeah, the detective, Tina from The Bear, clearly knows that he is a kid, doesn't she? The way she's even asking him, like, how are your headaches and how are these things? Like, there's a little bit of like a duty of care, mum or Aunt May kind of element, isn't there? Obviously, because he doesn't have anyone anymore. I think that's really good because it shows that, like, clearly the police are aware he is just a 22-year-old or 20-year-old or however old he is. And I think it's a really good dynamic. I really hope she makes appearances in the films. I think she was so good as a sort of like the chief detective or whatever. I just think she really brought it home. She was a great actor. She's excellent. I hope she comes back for more films. I love it when the cops and the detectives and the shield workers pop up in all these films. So I really hope that she's one who keeps coming back. And I presume we're getting more Spider-Man films. It'd be nice to have her as like a consistent where we carry on getting sort of Spider-Man doing friendly neighborhood Spider-Man things and she's there supporting him. I think that's really good.
One other thing I really liked was, and it becomes more apparent towards the end, but the fact that New York is really integral to the identity of the film as well. I mean, you and I have watched enough films to know that New York is pretty cool, but also quite grungy and a bit, you know, not all it seems. And I really liked the New York that it portrays in this film. It doesn't shy away from the fact that it's messy and it's chaotic and it's full of accents and full of people from different walks of life. And I think it really celebrated its multiculturalism and its ability to pull together. I mean, specifically in that final act, which again we'll try not to spoil, but it really felt like the PS5 Spider-Man games, because that really leans heavily into that aspect of the character as well. And I spent the whole time, I was more invested in this film than I would be in other films as well, because I'd done quite a lot of research for my radio job to do a couple of hits on the filming locations that they used. So they filmed quite a bit in Basingstoke, and they filmed quite a bit in the Dorchester prison, and loads of like local pockets of filming. And I mean, of course, last summer or last autumn, whenever it was, when they were filming in Glasgow on the cranes, that was a brilliant time to be on social media, because every time you check your phone, there'd be a new video or a new photo of Spider-Man.
New selfie of someone, a kid Spider-Man. There's a guy I follow on Twitter, just because we both like Resident Evil, and he got a selfie with his 6-year-old son with Tom Holland all in their costumes. So the dad, the guy that I follow, he had like a Spidey hoodie on like you, and then his little 6-year-old kid was in full Spider-Man, and he got a photo with Tom Holland in the Spider-Man costume, and he reposted it again the other day, and it's just like, oh my God, that's literally the definition of what Spider-Man is. Like, it's sort of like all these kids bloody love Spider-Man, and it's so cool to see that he was actually swinging through the streets of Glasgow and Edinburgh last year. Like, yeah,
spot on. Yeah, it's fascinating that they pulled that off so well, because obviously, as I said, New York is so integral to it, but yet they filmed it all around the UK. And you wouldn't be able to tell.
No, you wouldn't.
It's crazy.
Yeah, unless you know it's Dorchester prison, in which case you're like, wow, the whole final act of this film was taking place in Dorset. Like,
yeah,
it's really cool.
A mini fist bump for that. We've got to talk about the Hulk. Probably my favourite sequence. I know I was just saying we love the down-to-earth Spider-Man stuff on his own, but him, Hulk, Punisher in a fight scene together.
I cannot praise this film enough for the way it dealt with having MCU cameos. I think Yelena is great in this as well. Such a minor role, but she was really, really funny, and everything Florence Pugh did in this film had people laughing. The scene with him being naked with just the mask on was like, yeah, that's so funny. That's so good. Like, everyone was like, oh my God, is he gonna fully reveal his face to Yelena? And like, oh no, he's got the mask on. It's great. And yeah, the Hulk fight, it's probably the best Hulk fight we have. It felt the most real again. I know Ragnarok is excellent, but I don't know what they've done to the Hulk. He was different, wasn't he? He was bigger. He looked a bit more real. I think he was a bit less green, maybe.
It reminded me of the Age of Ultron fight. I mean, also in both scenarios, they're kind of under mind control, right? So there was that similarity as well. But it felt like the first time first time in a long time where Bruce Banner's like, I really don't want to Hulk out here. Like, people are going to get hurt. And I love Mark Ruffalo. I was messaging you about it. I think he never gets his flowers, and he's popped up in so many of these projects now, and is such a great actor, even in shoddy films like, what was that, Crime 101 I reviewed earlier this year. Like, no matter what he's in, he's always he's got this warmth and
he's got charisma,
friendliness to him. Yeah. And also, like, he seems like a really nice, thoughtful guy outside of films, where he's always campaigning for things.
Right.
Putting his career on the line a lot of the times to come out and say things that aren't always the most popular with certain corners of the internet or certain media
or Disney,
outlets.
To be honest. Like, he's got very vocal about the whole Palestine thing, isn't he? Which is, I think, to many people, a huge shock that he's even still in the role. But I think maybe he's that good in the role and that appreciated in the role as Hulk that they have kept him on, and he is excellent in it. And they give him a nice chunk to do in it. I kind of wish maybe he was in it a tiny bit more, but it is a Spider-Man film, isn't it? Don't get me wrong. He was amazing in the sort of 15 minutes he is in it. He's really good. Speaking of Punisher, have you watched the Punisher TV show?
I have not.
No. Right. Okay. So you're not going to be able to help me when I was hoping you'd seen it, and I could go to you and go, what happened in Staten Island Is it just Obi-Wan and Anakin when they're like, that business on Cato Moria, that doesn't count? Is that what that is? Is it just not, we haven't seen anything happen on Staten Island? Is it just, Spider-Man isn't in the Punisher show, right?
No. As far as I know, it's a bit like, you know, Black Widow and Hawkeye always reference Budapest.
Right. So it's exactly
I think it's that kind of thing. Or like in Gavin and Stacey with the fishing trip.
That is such a good way of putting it. Lenny will love that one. That's so fun. Here is your spoiler warning for the big reveal of the film. So skip forward to the next bit. There are timestamps in the description. So yeah, if you haven't seen the film, skip over this. What was your opinion of introducing a major X-Men into the MCU? This is the first new X-Men we've got, right? It's not a previous one they've brought in like Patrick Stewart or Beast or anything like that. This is a brand new casting for the MCU. Did you like Sadie Sink in this as a Spider-Man villain, and then also as an intro for her as an X-Men?
As a Spider-Man villain, I think it was ever so slightly ineffective, just because really it's not her fault. I think you actually got Michael Mando doing a phenomenal job as Scorpion, and you know what, I could have gone for a film with him as the villain. I would have liked that. But her being the villain in this film makes sense. I think it's a fun, organic way to introduce an X-Men character in. I was surprised that they went with Peter Parker, of all people, making the Universal inhibitor.
The anti-X-Men
That
thing.
was, yeah. That's quite mad. That's really a huge thing for them to decide. But yeah, very interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes. I thought casting was pretty good. There's a couple of scenes every now and there where maybe she felt a little bit TV, but then she hasn't done much film work, so I'm sure she'll grow into the role. She's probably got, 10, 15 years of it, so buckle up. And yeah, I'm just glad that we're moving on and we're getting a new set of X-Men.
Yeah.
And they've cast some people in the last few days. I can't remember their names or who they're playing, but believe me, they have. And it's looking like it's going to be a really interesting, funky set of characters. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so I don't think I actually said the name, did I? But obviously, yeah, she's cast as Jean Grey. It's been quite a fan cast for a while, you know, ever since Stranger Things, I think the sort of second to last season. She was often pitted as we could have her as Jean Grey, which is cool that she's got it. I think she's good casting, and I really, really appreciate that they've casted a young actor. The last thing I wanted was them to cast a 27-year-old, a 29-year-old. And by the time we get the first X-Men film, they're going to be 32, 34. So yeah, I think it would have been the worst decision ever. The fact they've cast her, I reckon she's maybe 20, 21. She is young. And the fact she's going to be able to grow into the role with other really young actors as a proper X-Men, I think it's going to be so cool.
And X-Men are supposed to be quite young, right? Because Professor X he owns a school for gifted children.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've never really seen that, I wouldn't say. I mean, even in sort of First Class, they're
still old. Yeah,
late 20s, 30s.
Yeah, if not older. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how old Jennifer Lawrence was, but there's no way she was like young in that. She's no way she should be at school. And obviously the original X-Men films, they're all, what are they? They're like 40 in that, aren't they? They're actually old in that. So, I'm just so glad they've casted a young person. Man, I just need them to get on with these X-Men films. What have we got announced? I mean, bit of a tangent, but what is it? We've got Doomsday, and then we've got Secret Wars. That's the next two films. Then we've got Black Panther 3 with Michael Johnson, which we haven't spoken about. Amazing casting. Is there anything else announced after that, or?
There's Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah,
Ryan
with Gosling, yeah.
Film wise, I'm not sure, and then TV wise, that seems to really have dried up, right? Because there's Vision Quest still on the way.
Yeah,
that's going to be
that's the only
before
thing,
Doomsday,
isn't
I
it?
think.
Oh, really? Right.
Mm.
I didn't realise that.
But yeah, I think. Do you know what? I actually wouldn't mind if they were like, okay, the TV shows that does all the multiverse stuff, we're actually going to drop away from them. It would be a shame in some respects because I've loved some of the TV shows. Moon Knight, Loki, Wonder Man was excellent. Again, they faked us out this week with a season 2. They're like, oh, we're going to give you a season 2. They announced it before the last series had finished, and then they were like, oh, no, actually, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's really gutting because it was a brilliant show.
Yeah, the fact that they announced it and cancelled is worse than it just not being renewed.
Yeah.
Everyone would have been quite content with just having one season, I feel like, but the fact they fully announced it got the actor excited for it, and then he had to do an old sad post with the black screen with white writing being like, my show's been cancelled.
But also this film's directed by Daniel Destin Cretton, right, who directed Shang-Chi, directed, wrote and produced Wonder Man. So I'm like, well, if you've just had this huge success from
him,
from the director, why are you like, oh, well done, really great work, but also don't worry about your show. The love letter to cinema, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
In the bin, mate. I mean, I'm presuming the only reason that could be is because maybe they don't want to helm that on their own and they want him to focus on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can think.
I'm going to guess that they just have realised how good this film is, the reception's been, and they want him on other projects. They want him on Spider-Man. They want him on, I guess, potentially X-Men if it starts to come to fruition. I guess the biggest question to end on, Adam, is, has this film gotten you excited for Doomsday?
Well, look, I think I'm one of the very select few that's kept an optimistic attitude towards the MCU, right? I think there's been some poor projects. I think there's been some messy projects, absolutely. And there's been some projects that I've just entirely skipped.
Echo? Cough.
Yeah, Echo, Ironheart.
I forgot about that.
I couldn't be bothered. Yeah. Look, regardless of your opinions on the last few phases, I think this is a promising sign. It shows that people aren't sick of superheroes. And again, we have this conversation once every 6 months, let's be honest. There's always a show or a TV, or even just a casting rumour, and everyone will be like, oh, Marvel's back, or DC's back. Or like, oh, who said anything about superhero fatigue? I'm like, well, people say that literally once a fortnight about something or other. So I'm a bit fed up, frankly, of the toing and froing when I've been there pretty consistent. I'm not saying it's a game of like, oh, who's got loyalty or anything, but I've stuck with the MCU even after the Quantumanias, even after Secret Invasion. Which, believe you me, I wanted to gouge my eyes out at the end of Secret Invasion. That was truly abysmal. But all that being said, there's been some absolute gold in Moon Knight, Loki. Sirens
on your end.
What are some good films? Quick, Fantastic Four. I love that.
Fantastic Four was great. Thunderbolts was all right.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Yeah. There's gold amongst it, though. You're quite right. Moon Knight. How ain't we had a follow-up to Moon Knight, mate?
I fear it's been too long.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it. Is he even going to pop up in Doomsday? Probably not.
Oh, it's so they should definitely have him in there. If he's not going to pop up in Doomsday, throwing him in Secret Invasion is such a... Sorry, not Secret Invasion. What's it called? Secret Wars?
Secret Wars, yeah. Are you aware of what Secret Wars is?
No. Right.
So, I mean, no spoilers, but from what I'm aware, it's just every single character fights each other. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if I think they're changing it, basically. But in the original comic, it's just another big battle between every character, like every comic, basically. So, I mean, if they're going to do that, are they going to bring him in just for that one film, just to have a cameo where he shows up? Like, is Wonder Man going to pop up? I didn't watch that show. Is he relevant? Are they going to have not Supergirl?
Guardians of the Galaxy, all of those.
Yeah,
lot.
they there. What
But
was
by the way, Guardians 3, that's another one we can list.
Oh yeah, Guardians 3 is excellent, actually. Yeah.
No Way Home, obviously, but that goes without saying.
What's the girl with the big arms, but she doesn't have big arms? Ms. Marvel? Is she showing up?
Yeah, who knows? Scarlet Witch, is she actually dead? I'm bored. By the way, if she is dead, why are we wasting our time over there? You know what I mean?
Vision Quest. What's the point in that if she's dead? Yeah. And
I really
Agatha
liked
All Along season 2.
Agatha
All Along was good.
Is there a second series?
I thought we were getting maybe that's a lie. I don't know.
Wiccan. He's not been announced, has he, in this new one?
No. And then Hulk's son from She-Hulk. Scar, is that his name? It is, isn't it? Yeah. He showed up randomly. Where was he in this film?
Yeah. By the way, Bruce Banner, love the guy, but he's such a terrible father. He's so absent.
He's got a whole son. Like,
I'm intrigued as to who he got it on with, and if they were regular, and also can Scar turn back into a human, or is he some
permanent
hybrid?
sort of horrible mutant where he's constantly green? I mean, what does Iron Man say in Age of Ultron? That horrible Joss Whedon joke where he's like, "You playing hide the zucchini?" Like. Side note, I thought this film that we're talking about apparently was over after the Hulk fight, and I downed my Pepsi and then needed a piss for the rest of the film, not realising there was another hour to go.
Oh, ow.
I was like really desperate the whole back half of this film. I thought it was over. I genuinely thought the film was over. I was so shocked.
That's a shocker, mate. That is a shocker.
Thank you for listening or watching this episode of Movie On Up. It was episode 111. Yeah, cheers for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can. It is hello@movieonup.com. Please get in touch. Tell us where you place this in your Spider-Man ranking. Is it your favourite Spidey film? How was your cinema going experience? I've heard a lot of people had really bad cinema etiquette experiences with this film because the screenings are so packed. Mine was great, actually. My screening was great. But Josh Brooker is quite often a victim of bad cinema etiquette. Yeah. So let us know. Email in. Yeah, once again, it's hello@movieonup.com.
You can also get in touch via our socials, Instagram and TikTok. The handles for both those platforms are @MovieOnUp.
There we go. 111
Seamless.
times. All good. Thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next week with reviews of what's out. Oh, Ice Cream Man. Apparently that's really bad and apparently got AI sequences in, so I won't be going to see that. Maybe End of Oak Street. Maybe that'll be the next film we review for you. Probably. There's kind of not much out over the next couple of weeks. So bear with us while we see what we see and review what we review. I'm sure we'll be back on form as we get into September and then obviously into the winter films. But yeah, for the moment, bear with us because there's not much out.
London Film Festival upcoming. Only a couple of months away, which is really exciting. And watch this space because we've got some exciting opportunities already in the can. So that's all I'll say.
Mum's
Perhaps
the
I've said
word.
too much.